right. Oh, it's so nice to see students here, students and parents. That wonderful time of year to talk about
Recording in progress.
that wonderful time of year to talk about awards and recognition. Well, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the October 2025 meeting of the Hadley Public Schools. Do I have a motion to call this meeting to order?
So moved.
Seconded.
Dean first, Ethan second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Terrific. Thank you. Any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, after the policy subcommittee meeting, the policy subcommittee is recommending that 4F subsection 5, JLCD administering medications to students, that be presented this evening for first and final reading. At that time, Chris Pip and also our head nurse, Robin Sis, should be joining us to explain what that is and why they're recommending that. So changing the order of that, to immediately after the field trip votes. Robin should be joining us then, so that if Robin is with us, she can then be at policy subcommittee.
Great. So does that mean we'll be going through all the policies after?
No, just that one, that Robin could answer questions if you have any.
Okay, great. All right. Next, we are moving into public comment. As a reminder, public comment should be no more than 3 minutes and pertinent to items on the agenda. The policy is attached to our meeting agenda, so you can see what the policies entail. And if you are interested in making a public remark, please raise your digital hand and you will be unmuted in the order in which you raise your hand. And I see David Phil has his hand raised. Annie, can you go ahead and unmute David?
Of course. Give me 1 second here. I just have to find him here. There we are. Make co-host. There we go.
Great. Welcome, David.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Recording stopped.
So just wanted to make a couple comments. I know you have behavioral interventions and also some budgetary issues on the agenda tonight, so related to those. So unfortunately, despite my family having attended Hadley schools since the beginning of time, we are being forced to school choice one of my children out of the district, which is costing the town and the school money because of a failure on the school's part to follow IEPs and to address bullying concerns adequately. And although Hadley claims to be an inclusive district and prides itself on fair treatment and equal treatment, sadly, that's not what we have experienced since, I'd say, June of last year. And these concerns were brought to Principal Dowd and Dr. McKenzie last year and have not been adequately addressed. And we are unfortunately facing the issue of retribution and retaliation going forward this year. And all of this is documented via public records requests and video public records requests from the elementary school. But I just want to, as it relates to the budget in town, the district's going to be forced to pay more money than it would otherwise be spending on a student. Unfortunately, Hadley is developing a reputation based on my research that special education students are not welcome here, and unless they are a quote unquote easy to deal with special education student. And resources are not adequately being provided for the students and the IEPs are not being followed. So I just wanted to pass that along. I know you can't respond to it and debate about it, but I just wanted to bring that to all of your attention. And it's a pretty sad situation when I'm being forced to school choice one of my children out of the district. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for sharing that. I too have had my own issues, and maybe we can talk about it over coffee at some point. But I thank you for sharing, and I assure you that your words will your comments will be followed up on by Annie and others. Thank you. Any other public comments for tonight? Okay, seeing none, let's continue with the agenda. The first item is the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Academic Excellence Award. And I'm going to have Annie share more about that award and who is going to receive that award.
Yes, well, let's let him in as a starting point. Okay, actually, I have 3 students to recognize this evening, and I think it's true for the school committee too. This is one of my favorite meetings of the year because of these recognitions. So the first student we'll be recognizing is a recipient of the Mass Association of School Superintendents Certificate of Academic Excellence Award. And this award this year goes to Saram Chowdhury, Mohammed Saram Chowdhury. And I have a little bit to read. That was part of his one of his recommendation letters. It's written by faculty at Hopkins Academy, and then my own comments to make. So this faculty member said, I've had the pleasure of knowing Saram for the past 6 academic years. He's accomplished far beyond what the average high school student has accomplished. He's participated in several professional internships and work experiences. He is currently serving as the assistant to the director of technology for Hadley Public Schools. I would say he is an absolute lifesaver. There have been many times when this faculty member says, I have emailed the tech department, and within an hour, Saram just appears, fixes everything, delivers anything, helps with anything. His academic accomplishments, which I can speak to, are lengthy and impressive. He has taken several AP courses. He is a dual early college student and an innovation pathways student. He's taking courses through Greenfield Community College. He takes advantage of just about every program and specialized opportunity that we offer. He's described by the faculty as respectful, kind, charismatic, and intelligent. He's looked upon as a role model by his peers. He genuinely cares about our school community, his peers, and the world around him. And I personally, I could tell you just A's, and all these advanced courses. So what these folks always hear me say, and it's true of all 3 of the students tonight, an intelligent person knows a lot. A wise person uses what they know in service to other people and the world. And all 3 of the young people that we are recognizing tonight, that's true of them. They're all wise. I would describe Saram as diligent. He is persistent, he's careful, he is hardworking. And I'm sure as a high school student, that probably sounds like a kind of a dud of a compliment. But in my world, diligence is wildly underrated and so important. So few people are persistent. They give up when things get hard. Few people are truly careful. And this probably for Saram and his family will not understand the gravity of this, but the school committee might, because I know zippo about athletics, but I found a perfect quote by a guy named Vince Lombardi, who's kind of an athletic guy, I guess. He did something important in athletics. Yes. And he said, the dictionary is the only place where success comes before work. And work is the key to success, and hard work can help you accomplish anything. And you're one of the hardest workers I've ever seen, Saram. We are so proud to have you as a Hopkins soon-to-be graduate, and congratulations on receiving the MASS Award for Excellence. Congrats. And he's here, I think. I let him in. If you'd like to say anything, you may.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. And I was thinking about it earlier today. I just wanted to thank everybody for making the school what it is, because as I was going through, common application for college and filling things in, I realized there is nothing on my entire application that comes outside of school resources. Everything that's on there has come from all 10 of my activities, college essay, personal statements, all that comes from Hopkins Academy. So I just wanted to say thank you, because I really wouldn't be here in any capacity without this.
Well, thank you. Congratulations. And I will say what you'll hear as we're talking about the other recipients is they also happen to be athletes. But I was talking to the AD today, and I said, let me double check. Is young Mr. Chowdhury, is he playing any sports? And he said, no, but I had something wrong with my computer, and he came right over and fixed it. So even he was quite grateful. Congrats. Karen, would you like me to go to our next recipient?
I too would like to congratulate Saram. Saram, I think I've known you since Jeremiah was in preschool. I think you might have been in preschool with my youngest son, and so I've seen you from the earliest of ages, and it's been a delight to watch you grow. And this recognition is well deserved. Congratulations to you and your family. I'm sure they're very proud.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Annie, would you like to continue?
Next two recipients are both receiving an award from the National School Development Council. And this is an award for academics and student leadership in learning. Our first recipient is Lily Elia. Lily's strongest areas of impact, and again, this was a recommendation letter by Hopkins Academy faculty, a portion of it. Lily's strongest areas of impact include her participation in our community service Key Club. Serving as a treasurer, she volunteers and works to set up events. She's student council vice president and a peer mentor. She helps younger students adjust to Hopkins Academy as a peer mentor and is always a support for them. What sets Lily apart from other students is her determination, high moral standards, kindness, and her passion for helping others. She's able to flawlessly balance a variety of leadership roles with rigorous academic course load. Like Saram, it's just A's after A's after A's and AP courses and advanced courses, really challenging coursework. She also serves as a teaching assistant and laboratory assistant in our chemistry classroom, and she helps the chemistry teacher organize and set up labs. She assists with small breakout groups. She demonstrates leadership skills and the academic drive needed to be extremely successful in what her career aspirations are now, which is pre-medicine. Also, she is an accomplished athlete, an amazing softball player. The AD said that today. And he thinks that she might be going to Wellesley to play softball, but she can confirm that when she has a chance to make remarks. And so, Lily, I was recently reading a list of things that someone wrote that money can't buy. And on the list were integrity and love, character, manners, respect, morals, common sense, and class. I've seen you in Hadley Public Schools. I've seen you in the halls. I've seen what you do for your classmates and for our community. You are quite wealthy because you possess all of those in abundance. And congratulations to you. Thank you. She is here, and she is a co-host, so she can say whatever she would like and confirm if I was right about Wesleyan softball.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to Wesleyan. It's really similar. But yeah, Hadley Public Schools, I've been in it since like kindergarten, and it's really just like I want to say thank you for how much it's just shaped me as a person, because like everything that I figured out I really am passionate for has just come through the school, through sports and like working at an elementary school and like healthcare and everything. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, Lily. It's really excellent. Wesleyan is a fine institution, and wonderful that you were accepted onto their softball team. That's terrific.
Thanks.
Congrats. And our last recipient this evening, also receiving the National School Development Council Award, Alana Bailey. And again, a faculty wrote, I've known Alana as a student for the past 6 school years. She left her mark on Hopkins Academy through her involvement in many extracurricular activities, community service endeavors, and her involvement in both our student council and our peer mentoring program. She has taken many upper-level science courses and will have successfully completed 4 dual enrollment courses upon graduation. So those are credit-bearing college courses. She's completed Bio 101, Anatomy 101, enrolled in Anatomy 2, and this is on top of her already heavy academic course load of AB and honors level courses at Hopkins. She's developed leadership skills, and she will absolutely, this faculty member said, be successful in any future career endeavor. She has aspirations to join the medical field and help patients, and this person says she is so well suited for that career. And in this case, I was thinking about another quote. A kind gesture can reach a wound that only compassion can heal. So I am so certain that whatever you pursue, you'll succeed. And that, as your other faculty member said, is not only because you're intelligent and you're skilled, Alana, but mostly because you are committed to always offering the best of who you are to the world and to help others. And so thank you so much for making Hopkins proud, and congratulations on receiving this award.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you too. Again, I've been in Hadley School since I was a little kid, and all the teachers, coaches, and people, my friends even, have really impacted me. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has made me into the person I am today.
And you also, I heard about your great soccer and softball skills. I don't know if that's part of your post-secondary plans or not. And have you chosen, I didn't ask, sorry, too. Do you know where you're planning on going to school next year? Are you still thinking about it?
You're gonna see me? I'm sorry. Yeah, I haven't like fully decided, but I'm looking somewhere in Rhode Island. So that's the plan.
Excellent. Congratulations. And I didn't ask, Sarah, but I didn't announce. Do you know where you're going next year?
Well, we'll never know till the admissions office gets back, but I'm planning on UMass Amherst up there, so it's close. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, everyone. We are so proud of all three of you. You and many students like you who work hard and are doing all the work, all the extracurriculars, service, and going into college application season, which is a lot. So congratulations and good luck as you enter that season, and look forward to seeing you soon, and also at graduation.
And I will deliver the awards tomorrow to the office at Hopkins Academy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move next to the DC, I think it's the DC field trip. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
the 2 field trips, and then we'll do the 1 policy.
Terrific. And here to tell us about both field trips is Professor Jason Burns.
There we go. Just had to make him a co-host.
Welcome, Jason. You're on mute.
Story of my life. What I said was, hello, it's nice to see you all again. So as you saw, 2 field trip proposals, neither of which probably surprised you coming from me. I'll start with DC. I honestly was not sure I'd do another DC trip. The last one was a lot of work, but I felt really bad about the kids not being able to go, so I decided that I would do the trip again. But you notice it looks a little more expensive than in the past, and that is because we're using a company so that they're doing all the things that cause the stress. And so it's a 4-day trip. We will bus down. We'll do all the DC stuff, assuming they're open. And then we will bus back. The price includes transportation, hotel, security in the hallways at night, all their food, pretty much everything you can think of. And currently I have 4 fundraisers planned. I am very confident in our ability to cut the price in half for everyone. So it will be closer to what we're normally used to doing for this trip. Of course, that all depends on the kids and their willingness to actually participate in said fundraisers rather than saying, mom can pay for it, which happens a lot. Do you have any questions about that one?
Well, I'll start with a comment in that I was really fortunate to be tapped as chaperone. I know that is very rare, and that you were in a pinch. And because I had volunteered on live school committee, you took me up on the offer. But I just have to say that it was an excellent trip, and it was just there's so much to go see. The students learned so much. I think that's what I walked away with, was just a real um, awe of just how valuable that kind of experience is for young people. And you do a great job. So I'm excited that you're going to offer it again and doing what you can to minimize the burden on you and your team by relying on by the company that you're partnering with. So I have no other specific questions. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues to see if they do.
I don't have a question, but I'm excited to see that you were able to find a way to move forward with this still, and I hope it works out so that we can keep doing it, because I really think it's a fantastic field trip and kids may not have the opportunity to visit otherwise. So thank you for figuring this out.
You're welcome.
And would you like to present the second one?
Sure. So the second one is our next Europe trip, which we're presenting earlier than usual. Usually we wait till right after the current one, which is happening this coming April. But as you know, things are getting more expensive. So what we decided to do is, why not go ahead and present it and get it approved? Because the way the company works is families can start making payments almost immediately. So the longer we give them, the smaller the monthly payments are. So that's the thinking behind this one. And we decided it's always a question of where shall we go next. We decided Greece would be fun. I want to go to Greece. Miss Roberts wants to go to Greece. And in talking with a lot of the sophomores who are the kids who would be looking to go, they were excited to either go to Switzerland or Greece. And they had this idea, especially a certain child of someone who's on the screen, I won't name who they are, was super excited about going hiking in Switzerland. But we determined Switzerland is very expensive. Very expensive. So we opted to go with the Greece option, which will be fantastic because it's Greece. And like everything else, everything except lunch is included in the price.
Great. Well, Greece, so much history, so lovely. What time of year is this?
April.
Oh, that'll be really nice. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those, but the lower prices, I think people would be thanking you, especially 2 years from now, as things cost even more than they do today. I'm going to open it up to questions from my colleagues. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Well, seeing none, let's take a vote. Do I hear a motion to approve both the DC and Greece field trips?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. I think that was Christine motioning and Tara seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Jason.
Great. Thank you so much.
For doing this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving next to the
Policy. Yeah, the single policy, if that's okay, JLCD, administering medications to students, just taking
Yes.
that one policy out of order. So that policy we've already had, we've always had this policy. The only thing that is different is that now, and if you have questions, certainly Robin, our nurse leader, she can speak to this, Robin Sis, but Narcan is something that can now be delegated. So we've trained the staff, but we would need the school committee, kind of like an EpiPen. So just as Robin can train people on use of an EpiPen and delegate some other medications, she can also train people in the use of Narcan. But Narcan is not explicitly listed in our policy, and this new policy, or the revision to it, which the attorney has reviewed, specifically states under the exceptions section, it talks about commonly known as Narcan, I think naloxone. Robin can tell me if I'm saying that right. Sorry about that. Nasal naloxone is now specifically mentioned. That paragraph that's added, if the school district wishes medical personnel to train non-medical staff in the administration of nasal naloxone, the school committee shall vote to approve such training, and the superintendent shall ensure that medical personnel have a written protocol which complies with medical directives and regulations from the Department of Public Health. So Robin has put together protocols. They have been reviewed by the attorney. We have done the training, but we would not allow staff to act on that training until the school committee approved a policy. The policy subcommittee looked at this evening, and actually Chris can speak to this. She was in favor of and recommended that we move this to a first and final reading rather than have people who can't use their training. And Christine, I'll let you speak more to that.
I just feel that it would be we'd be remiss in waiting on something that could potentially save someone's life. The training's been done, and there's no reason to hold it over to a second reading.
Great. Thank you, Christine. Robin, would you like to add anything to this?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm just happy to hear that this training of non-medical staff as responders to any potential life-threatening overdoses is something that the school committee is considering to support. I think that, like I had mentioned earlier in the subcommittee policy meeting, that I don't believe that students are going out looking for fentanyl. I think that it's in our community. It's, kind of everywhere. That's what the statistics show us. It's not going anywhere, although we're seeing a decline in it. 2025, we're actually seeing a small increase again. Again, I don't think students are looking for it. It's just in synthetic drugs that a student may take, whether it's cannabis laced fentanyl with cannabis, whether it's synthetic pills that a student might think they're taking an Adderall or taking a Percocet or something like that. They don't know what they're getting. We're doing a lot of education at school in our health classes to address this issue, but it's out there, and I think that it's important that schools have more than just one person in the school building that can administer the antagonist and to reverse a life-threatening overdose. So I'm happy that you guys would consider this for Hopkins and at HGS. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Any questions for Christine or Robin? Yes, Tara.
I have one. So I think this is appropriate given patients can carry this on hand and family members can administer this, right? It's a prescription medication that can be given out and can be in a home. So I think it's appropriate, but I guess my question is how often are we training? So that would be my biggest concern, much like an EpiPen. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? And so in the event of an emergency situation, you don't want somebody fumbling or needing to read through instructions. So if we're retraining, how often are we retraining? That would be my only question.
We're going to be training non-medical staff responders annually every year. And this will be at the beginning of the school year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Just sorry, Robin. Hey, Robin. So is everybody taking the training? Are all teachers?
So when I did the EpiPen training this This year, I also included Narcan training. Nobody was opposed to it, but we do have written in our protocol that if people were opposed and people did not want to volunteer, then the school would identify maybe 2 employees that we would approach and, ask them to be a non-medical staff responder.
Great, thanks.
Yes.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve policy JLCD for first and final reading?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Christine and Robin. All right, we are going to go back to our regular agenda and pick up with strategy presentations, first with the Hopkins Academy, both slide presentation and strategy. Here to tell us about that is April Camuso. Welcome, Principal Camuso.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to also share the screen at the same time. I couldn't unmute. Let's see if I can do this accurately. Allow to share screen. Share screen. Okay. Slideshow. All right, can we all see it now? Did I succeed? Okay. When you don't do this as often, you start to kind of lose that. Although I'm not sure I can do this and see you all at the same time. So I'm going to do my best with how I set it up. All right, thank you for having me to check in about the updates to our strategy document. Just as a quick reminder, the overall document is a separate link to the slides, and that one is 2024 to 2027. So we're going over just some updates to it for this year and some highlights, but I'm happy to answer questions about anything else that you see in there as well. I'm going to skip ahead to slide 4. This was the presentation I used for my school council when we reviewed it. So we went over some pieces about what is the strategy document earlier, which unless you want me to, I wasn't going to go over here, but I was going to start on slide 4, which just goes through the vision, DESE's vision, as well as the Hopkins vision of a student, which is what helps to frame the strategy document and is how I'm just going to organize the updates for this year, if that makes sense to everybody.
Sounds great.
Okay, so at the top on slide 4, you'll see the top line says vision 1, 2, and 3. And so that's the language from DESE in terms of their vision for a student. And beneath that is each of our visions for our Hopkins students. The first one, right, has to do with authentic learning experiences. The second one has to do with individualized supports and MTSS supports. And the third one has to do with ideas of knowing our students and having them feel valued and a sense of belonging. So in our first vision, the area that we're focusing on this year, I have 2 slides for this one, has to do with those experiences that are relevant and real world and interactive. Specifically, we have a few programs in the school that we're continuing to focus on developing more. So we have innovation pathways in early college, high school. And I have some information on the slides, but I will just highlight some of that. So we have 2 new pathways this year, the ones that are listed 5 and 6, actually should say manufacturing and engineering. So I'll update that afterwards, and healthcare and social assistance. Those are 2 new ones for this year. In all of those innovation pathways, our students are either completing an internship or a capstone. Ruthann Fitzgibbons is actually working with several students on their capstones this year, but in either case, she's helping to figure out what every student is going to be doing. So helping to set them up with an internship that they're looking for or figure out that topic for that capstone and really trying to expand some of our networks in that area. A part of that is also trying to increase those college and career immersion experiences like the career fair or college visit. And some of those are at Hopkins and some of those are other schools, other high schools or other colleges. And we will also be spending some time looking at some proactive scheduling. So as we're figuring out our courses, trying to figure out all of the places where our courses overlap, right, for the different programs, innovation pathways, Project Lead the Way, and then also making sure that those are rotating in often enough so that students in any of these pathways can take those. and any courses that sort of work for multiple pathways, trying to also prioritize some of those. So that's a little bit of the work we'll be doing this winter and figuring out all of those pieces. In early college high school, it's continuing to work with students around understanding the college process, right? Taking the AccuPlacer, registering for courses, speaking with professors when things get a little bit tough, planning our time for our work. And so we've been doing a lot of work around that. Project Lead the Way, we've had at the elementary school, and we have in grades 9 through 12, although we are working on expanding to middle school as well. And these courses are project-based STEM courses. Right now, we have some in computer science, engineering, and biomedical science. And we do plan on expanding to middle school. Again, these ones can overlap with innovation pathways, but they don't have to. Anyone can take the courses as well and really benefit from those. And our students are enjoying those this year. We have Hopkins Pathways, our future educators, and our public safety programs. And Ruthann is also starting to expand more options in service learning. So she did a presentation with all of the faculty this fall about what service learning is and how to include that within their classroom lesson plans. She runs her international travel, and we have 2 service learning advisories that we've added to our advisory curriculum. I'm just going to come out of this for a second so that I can see you all a little bit better. I think I need to do that a little bit to the side, which is probably confusing unless Annie, you know a better way to do this. Because I can't see you to see if you have any questions. I'm going to pause at that first one and see if you have any questions before I move on to the second vision.
No
There's a
questions.
lot in those programs.
No questions so far, but let's
Yeah.
let's see. I'm scanning my team, and I'm not seeing any hands raised, or yeah, I think we're good. You can continue.
All right. Sorry. All right. So moving on to the next one. Slide 7. So our next vision, right, has to do with our individualized supports for students. And this year we are doing a science of reading training. The elementary school completed their science of reading training 2 years ago, and they are implementing that. So we at Hopkins actually just started this afternoon at our PD to implement it for our adolescents, middle school, and high school students. Essentially, science of reading is really just explicitly teaching reading and using scientifically based research methods, right, to do that, focusing on vocabulary instruction and reading comprehension and picking those evidence based practices that fulfill that, but doing so in all content areas. So all of the teachers, all of the Unit 8 members, the counselors, nurse, everyone, right, are doing this training as well, so that students can have that benefit in all classes because we read everywhere all of the time. Even as I was walking around with the teachers, you could hear them say, well, I guess, they read every day because sometimes they're at least reading, directions or a word problem or whatever it may be. So we're going through that with everybody. We have about 7 sessions or so over the course of afternoon PD days and full PD days where we will be doing that. Additionally, we are applying an MTSS lens for attendance, trying to decrease our chronic absenteeism and increase our good attendance overall. Just like the rest of the state and the nation, we have seen an increase in chronic absenteeism since COVID that we are still working on decreasing. If you kind of look at the graphs over time, you'll see usually at the beginning of the year, it's okay. And then there's a sort of dip in the middle of the year, gets a little bit better again. And then at the very end of the year, it dips back down again. So we're trying to do some work in the different tiers around attendance. Some proactive things like the text messaging and social media campaign that I've been working on. We also have a bunch of tier 2 interventions, different informational letters to share with families, meetings to set up, check-in, check-out systems with students, and whatever else we can kind of think of around that. At this time, by the end of the year last year, we were not at the threshold that we would look at for positive attendance. Typically, when we talk about MTSS, and Michelle can talk about this more, I don't remember if it's today or next month when she talks to you, but typically you would look at 80% as being your goal. But when it comes to attendance, you're actually looking at 90%. And so wanting to make sure that we have 90% right in that green area that we want to have. And so right now we're doing okay. Hopefully we can continue to maintain some of that. And for some of our students who have higher absences, continue to provide them some interventions to increase their attendance and their overall success and outcomes. any questions about that before I talk about Vision 3? Okay, I see no questions. Perfect. So our third idea is making sure that all students are known and valued. We have a lot of different things in this area, but when I was thinking about what we're focusing on this year, it's an extension of some of our work from last year. Last year, we worked with students in youth participatory action research, and students worked together to come up with a survey that we will be implementing this fall. So some of those same students are in the group again, and then we've also been able to expand to more students. I think Annie hopes that they visit you all at one point as well, and I think that's in that's in their plan for this year so they can update you. At the end of the year, they're going to do a presentation, but overall, they will implement that survey on belonging. They'll get some feedback, they'll analyze it for themes, provide some recommendations, and then they will be presenting that at a conference at the end for all of the students who are a part of this work. So we're excited to have them do that. Ashley Malinowski is the lead in that planning and that work, and she's doing a really great job. So we're excited to have our students there. We also, of course, are working on separating our students from their cell phones and their devices. And so we have lots of efforts and time spent there, implementing our new policy, collecting both the conduct data, but also feedback from staff and students on that policy change, and then anything else that we need as well in order to make that successful. So that one's kind of, we'll keep sort of learning as we go how things are there. And we're about at the end of the first quarter, so we will have our first quarter set of data soon, and we will also send out some surveys to staff and students soon as well once the quarter ends at the end of the week. So that's our next step in that area. I have time for any questions, and the very last slide, in case you need any of it too, or just all of the supplemental documents. My school council asked me to make a sort of timeline for the specialized programming so that you could see when you're able to do different pieces. One of the things I forgot to mention was that we've been trying to create more opportunities and earlier opportunities for students to learn about all of these programs, Innovation Pathways, Early College High School, Project Lead the Way, everything. And so catching them earlier and earlier in middle school, and also sometimes repeating some of those presentations, especially when they're younger, so that they can have access to that information earlier on and some of that decision making, especially as they're thinking about transitioning into the high school. And there's an initiative definition sheet as well. I know we throw all these terms at you guys, restorative justice and PBIS and all of those things. So there's an extra document that just helps to summarize a lot of the main terms that I use in the strategy document, if that's helpful. I'm happy to take any questions, comments, anything.
Thank you, Annie. April. I really appreciate this. I really especially appreciate you honing in on the need to reach students early with the message that these programs exist. I think it would be really neat to consider how you might do that, perhaps through students themselves, older students that are respected and, that kids look up to translate for them, why they even thought about pursuing a specific kind of college class or a specific innovation pathway. What was it about that topic that really excited them, and how the pathway served as a means to explore that outside of the traditional curriculum, or even college classes, that how those college topics might vary very much from what you might get in a traditional high school setting, and why that might be valuable. I think as I reflect on each of my three kids, I had to reach each one of them differently in terms of the compelling value proposition for each of these things. And it takes time, because no one wants, some people want more school. I would say Sarum would want more school, but a lot of kids wouldn't want more school. To help translate what the value proposition is in other terms, they can see why it's compelling, and might, and there's a lot of other things to get into gear, like the ride to GCC, or getting their driver's courses in sooner than they might have expected, or all the logistics that go into taking advantage of those opportunities. So anyways, I would say that I'm really glad that you're picking up on that early and often message. And I would encourage you to look at examples through other students to tell the story of what they did, how they did it, why it was valuable to them.
No, that's a really helpful idea. A couple years ago, we had students who initiated a presentation with older students to share their internships and how it went. And so they're going to do that again this year, obviously with a new set of students because that went so well. But what you're describing too is even, better in addition to that, right? Having, I would say, older students share that with those younger students about all of those thoughts, especially since we have so many other places where we already have a lot of that crossover mentoring of our older and younger students. I think that's a great idea. So I'll chat with Senora about that. She's taking the lead on some of this work. So I'm sure she'll love it too.
Terrific. Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments, questions from my colleagues?
You do need to vote to approve. We call it a strategy document, but essentially for the purposes of the law, it's a school improvement document. You'll hear Hadley Elementary's next month, but you do need to approve each of those.
Okay, very good. Paul, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Hi, April. So I'm just curious, with all the great choices with the Pathways programs, and are almost every students is every student sort of taking one, or
No.
and how many more options do you
Yeah.
foresee? Or are we sort of maxed out?
Yeah. So I would say it's Annie's dream that every student is in a very specific pathway. And so I think we're continuing to try to work towards that dream. She probably more so has memorized some of those exact numbers than I do. I can certainly pull them up and find them because I'd have to pull out, some of those ones who aren't in the state identified pathways. Those are easier and faster to pull. Then we have some students, right, who've been devoted to our public safety, which we did work collaboratively with some other schools about that. And Annie's always looking forward to anywhere where we have an in-house pathway and rolling it over into a DESE one when they support that, which might be the case soon with future educators too. But I can't tell you exactly how many. I can tell you we have a lot of students, and I could get you an exact number at some point if that is helpful to you.
I was just curious. I'm seeing that there's 6 now. Do you foresee that being sort of it for a while, or are we going to just keep offering different choices?
I think that's it for now in terms of the innovation pathways, but I do think we're continuing to increase, like I said, Project Lead the Way, and then any in-house ones where we can. So the service learning piece also might kind of continue to funnel into a more formal Hopkins pathway. And so we're trying to integrate based on, some of those student needs and interests. The innovation pathways are great, and they are focused on what's out there in careers right now, what's competitive. A lot of them are STEM focused, although some of the coursework is humanities coursework for some of those careers. So we have a crossover. But for some students who don't see themselves in those, right, you can talk to them about that crossover. And then we also have some other ones. I mean, some students are in multiple pathways and early college, high school. Like we have some students who will be in 2 pathways and early college, high school.
Okay.
So there is overlap in a lot of these. There's a bit about, and this is part of why it's important to do it early and track it early and pay attention, right? Is that you do have to follow along some of your coursework to make sure that you have it to complete some of these things. And then sometimes you can come in later and you can backtrack and line it up. But if you're really trying to do a lot, then you have to pay attention to all of those things as you're going. And so we do that with the transcript analysis. So Anna Sear works closely with those students. And with last year, it was Nick Simmons who worked with Innovation Pathways. And this year it's Ruth Ann to help support the students and make sure that they are paying attention to that, right? Like if you decided this is your pathway, then like Kamira said, that means figuring out all these things. Like here are all the technical courses I have to take, and here are all the advanced courses. And do I want to take them in person or not in person? Do I want an internship or a capstone? What are those things? So there's a lot of the little stuff that you have to figure out, which is, great preparation for when they graduate too.
And I can tell you, to April's point, don't have yet, we have to change how we do SIMS reporting for ones that are not state designated, like public safety and future educators. And I can tell you right now in the high school, we have 41 students enrolled in just innovation pathways, 7 in early college only, and 25 in both innovation pathway and early college. So out of high school students, that's 63% of the high school enrollment. When the state started this, I believe their statewide goal was they were hoping by 2030 that just under half of high school students would be enrolled in some form of early college or career pathway. So we've exceeded the state's goal and exceeded it by about 5 years.
Awesome.
Annie's goal is
Great.
still 100% though.
It is.
Yes, let's
Free
go.
college.
Support that.
Free college, free college, free college. Yep.
It makes it easier that we're a small school for sure to be able to
Yeah.
hit those numbers.
Well, it makes it easier also to think about what does each specific kid want, right? And then support them through it. Because especially the college courses can be really tough for some kids. And we have the ones through GCC and the ones through UMass. And sometimes they just want to give up because it gets hard. And so it's like, how do you help them through that? And then how do you, continue that? So, which is the point of that program.
Yes.
I have a question. Well, I don't know if it's a question, just so much more tagging on to Humera's thought about engaging some of the older kiddos with the younger group. And I guess maybe I'm thinking, I think having kind of like the Q&A is really great, but also maybe before that, like highlighting these students. So I was actually going to send you, I was having a couple really good conversations this weekend as the PTO had their trunk or treat. And we had one of our HA students there with the public safety doing, I'm going to send you that picture, April. I took a picture of her with public safety. And so, and I obviously have a little bit of affinity to the child. But I think it would be great to highlight it in a way that our kids would also find it receptive, right? Like having a picture of that kid in that moment during their internship, them telling like, what's your favorite part of doing this, highlighting some of the fun things that they've done, some of the things that they've learned. And then maybe that's kind of how you lead up to like a Q&A, but trying to capture, like, I think about my son and, if it's a lot of words, and I feel like sometimes with, the younger kiddos, making it visually appealing helps, right? And so first off, putting a face to it makes it just more personable to begin with, right? Like you're seeing that person, you're like, oh, I've seen them. I didn't know they were doing that. And they might feel more comfortable to approach. I know even like my son has started talking to some of the high schoolers about some of the things that he's into with computer programming while over at the library after school. So I think it's a good opportunity. You put the face to the name, you know what they're in, and it also makes kids more comfortable to just talk. So maybe leading up to it, like highlighting some of what these guys are doing.
Thank you. That's a great idea as well.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments before we seek a vote? Ethan?
No questions. Just wanted to say how great this is. I really love the explanation, and I like the focus on the attendance as well, knowing the changes we've seen since or post-COVID.
Yeah, definitely. I like the texts, by the way. They keep me upbeat.
Thank you.
Christine, anything to add?
No, I'm just I'm looking forward to seeing how the service learning goes.
All right. Well, seeing no other questions or comments, let's see if there's a motion to approve the strategy for Hopkins Academy.
So moved.
Thank you, Ethan.
Second.
Thanks, Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you.
Excited for the year. All right. We're moving next to the, let's see, academic and behavioral interventions and supports. Here to tell us about it is Michelle Witowitz.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Hello, welcome.
Similar to April, it's been a bit since I've done a Zoom and share screen. I just pressed share screen. Did that work for you?
You want to shift screen and then hit entire screen or, your browser and then hit share. So there's a few steps.
Okay. In the host tools, I hit share screen and then what did you tell me to do next?
Once you hit share screen, you'll click on the big blue share button.
Okay. Now I see. Thank you.
Problem.
Okay.
And we can see your screen now.
Okay, great. Okay. Great. Thanks for bearing with me there. Okay. So my presentation is set up very similarly to April. So the strategy doc is a separate document of itself. You'll see on the first slide, but the slide you're looking at now, again, the same image of Desi's vision for deeper learning for all students, and how.
So, Michelle, you have the document up, but not your slide presentation. I can share my screen.
Oh,
let me
I'm
do that. And you tell
sorry.
me what to do. Do
Okay.
not. You stop sharing, and if you stop sharing, I'm going to share it for you, and you're going to tell me what to do.
Thank you. Sorry about that. That may be easier than to see
There you
with
go.
what April was saying there too. Thank you.
Are you saying the right thing? There we go. Right? Oh,
Yes.
there we go. And you want me to go here?
Okay. Thank you. So here you see Desi's vision, and that the tiered supports are a large piece of that, and our district problem solving process right next to it. So again, similar to April's, how we're using that problem solving process driven by data to enhance our tiered supports for all students. We use data from universal screenings for social, emotional, and behaviors, for literacy and for math. We also use MCAS data, teacher and staff data. We have referral data, the attendance data, classroom and survey data as well. So all of this data is driving all that you're seeing in the strategy doc. Annie, you can go to the next slide. The MTSS blueprint, there is its own document there from Desi. It is linked onto the slide as well. So this is their graphic specific to MTSS. You'll see the 4 components in the light blue: academic success, health and wellness, social, emotional, and behavioral development, as well as school belonging. So those are the 4 areas for MTSS. What you're seeing on the outsides is the implementation drivers. So those are the organizational systems that leaders create in order for tiered instruction to occur. You'll notice that there are arrows, going between each of those, indicating that these are all intertwined, they're all happening simultaneously. The core idea quote comes directly from that blueprint doc, which again is linked there if you're curious for more learning on it. And my role comes in as a support to both teachers and students, because in order to meet the needs of all of our students, we have to provide our educators with the necessary tools for success. You can go to slide 4, Annie. So the next few slides highlight 3 different components of the strategy doc. The first is the implementation of our comprehensive health and PE standards. What you don't, I'll talk about what you're not seeing on the slide first, which is Hopkins Academy. Hopkins Academy has clearly defined time for health. We have grade 8 health. We also have grade 9 health. In addition to that, there are lessons taught through the advisory curriculum that hit on different topics in the health standards. There are also times throughout the school year that our counselors and or school nurses go into classrooms at dedicated times to cover specific topics as well. It's a little bit harder to clearly define that time at HES. So that was what we tackled over the past 2 years. Last year, I facilitated a professional learning community where about 8 of us worked through the new standards and found ways where we could implement each of those at all grade levels. And it really takes a collaborative effort. You'll see that some of our lessons are coming from Nurse O'Brien, physical health and hygiene. Coach Catania, he, in addition to all of the PE standards, he is doing 3 lessons with each grade level throughout the course of the year in the domains that you see posted on the slide here: nutrition, personal safety, public community, and environmental health. Our classroom teachers in K through 4 are implementing curriculum from everyday speech. Those would be whole class instructions. We also have additional tiered instructions happening for students who might have small group support with a school adjustment counselor and or a speech language pathologist. And this year I'm excited to do some lessons for our 5th and 6th grade students as well. I'll be pushing into the STEAM lab about once a month to cover topics of healthy relationships and mental and emotional health. So again, those are 2 of the topics in the larger comprehensive health and PE standards. Our next highlight is an expansion of community partnerships. We have partnered with River Valley Counseling for several years now. At the end of last year, we did have a wait list of a few students at each building. So it was important to us to expand that going into this school year. We do not currently have a wait list at this time. All students who met criteria for that, whose parents agreed to it, and who are able to receive counseling. We have additional days in each building this school year where there is a counselor in the building and providing one-to-one support for students. Last year, they started a middle school small group targeting middle school stresses, adjusting to middle and high school life. That will be again offered this school year. We had really positive feedback from both the counselor, from the students, and from parents of students who participated in that group last year. So that will again be offered to our students this year. In addition to expanding our River Valley counseling services to our students, we've also contracted with Cartwheel Care this year. This is a virtual support, for our students it's all virtual, I should start by saying. But what appealed to us is that for some, we're aware that there still is a little bit of a barrier or a stigma around receiving mental health support. So Zoom access appealed to some of our families. We also, they're also able to service beyond school hours. So this is something new we're able to offer to our students and families. They have hours 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the weekdays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the weekends. They have trained therapists in multiple languages. So we have had a need for some families whose first language is not English, and we are able to provide them with a therapist who speaks their native language. And also, in addition to that, they're offering family webinars. Those have been shared out with our families as well. About once a month, they offer a targeted mental health or behavioral topic, and all of our families are welcome to attend those as well. Our final highlight is this year I'll be assisting the generative AI learning that's happening for our district. I'll be collaborating with our district leadership team. I'll also be co-facilitating with Annie a monthly AI PLC that includes faculty from each school. Both of these groups will be working through DESE's AI Literacy for Educators document there. It's a learning tool to increase our knowledge and understanding. And as we work through it too, we'll be developing policies and practices for our staff and students when it comes to using AI to ensure that they're meeting state standards, adhering to ethical considerations, and that we're keeping human intelligence at the center. As we explore, because there's a lot of AI tools, it seems like every day there's new ones. As we explore those, we'll be asking a number of questions. What problem are we trying to solve? What conditions do we want to create? What are the limitations or unintended consequences? How will we monitor implementation and evaluate impact? We have a list of all of these questions that we'll be asking as we meet in monthly groups and with the district leadership team. So that is what I have for you for tonight for my strategy doc. What April touched on with the different tiers and the green and the yellow red, I'll be back next month and I'll be presenting some of our universal screening data as well as some MCAS data. And I'll talk a bit more about that in detail at that time. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have to the presentation tonight.
Sorry for all the jumping around. I was trying to pull up the excellent agenda that Michelle did for our first AI PLC. So apologies for all the craziness. Looking for it to highlight it.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for the presentation. I'm really excited for all of this work, particularly the AI work and really helping students understand how that fits in with life, and will be definitely a part of their life no matter what, but how to use it in light of learning and to keep their brain continuing to think, not dependent on AI. I was thinking about you. I think it was just 2 or 3 days ago, when it would have been, I think it could have been NPR, it could have been the New York Times, reported that SEL, and I know SEL is just a component of what you're reporting on today, but that students introduced to SEL concepts see 8 percentage points greater increase in grades. And I can totally intuitively understand why that would be the case. And I'm really excited that you've been leading that effort at our schools. It just makes me very happy to know that our students are optimizing their social emotional learning abilities while and achieving their potential academically as a result. So thank you for continuing to do that. I don't have any other specific questions, but I'd love to open it up to my colleagues to see what questions or comments they have. Team?
Thanks.
Go ahead, Paul. No, go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Oh, quick. Thanks, Michelle. So maybe not now, but at some point, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the AI stuff. Like, how are the students engaging with AI? What sort of parameters do we put around that? What sort of expectations as you work through that? You know, I know we're all learning, so I'd love to hear what you think about it. I like what you said, keeping the human-centered learning first. I hadn't really framed it that way. I like that.
Well, everything I know is coming from Annie, who's taking an AI course right now. So it is a little comical that I am co-facilitating this group, but because I don't know a lot, I'm by no means an expert on it at all. But I've learned a lot in the last couple of months, and I am eager to see the ways that it can enhance learning. And I would be happy to come back with, like Annie touched on, some of those agendas or some of the work that we're doing. We've only had one meeting so far, so we're only just beginning. But I'm really optimistic about the group and the work we'll be able to do this year.
And I just had a comment just to kind of say how important I know this work is, this SEL work is in schools, how students benefit from it and families benefit from it. So I'm just really thankful for the work that's being done.
Thank you. And to both your comment and Humera's, it has continued to evolve. We started MTSS in 2016 at ATS, and it was just a very basic triangle. So those of you who are in, and the graphics keep evolving. And I actually really like on the third slide, DESE's MTSS blueprint, because you really see how intertwined they all are. You can't really be successful in one area without having there be success in the other. So it's nice that it's acknowledged and that you all acknowledge as well and support the work in both the SEL area as well as academics, because it's critical to have both in order for optimal success for our students and staff. So thank you.
Awesome. Tara, do you, I see your mic is unmuted. I wonder if you have questions, thoughts, comments?
I didn't. I unmuted for the vote, but I do echo Ethan. Sorry. I don't have any questions. I do echo Ethan. I think the role is so very important, and I think it's important to have the right person in the role. So I'm thankful not only for the role, but for Michelle in that role as well. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. And this one you do not have to vote on, but we just wanted you to see all of the wonderful work. You have to, by law, vote on the HES and HA strategy documents. But just see all the great work that Michelle is leading. Thank you for your excellent presentation. I really was trying to show them your great agenda, and I just
and I'll practice with the whole Zoom and the sharing before the next one, because yeah, it's been a while. So thanks for your patience with me.
No problem. Look forward to having you back next month to learn some. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to move next to special town meeting, the fiscal year 26 budget amendments, as well as the capital requests. Annie, do you want to take us through both?
I sure do. So this one will require a very specific vote, which is listed on the second page of the agenda. So as folks know, the override did not pass, and so the town has done some amending to the budget for fiscal year 26, our current fiscal year, to make sure things stay on track and they're balanced. And part of that is a reduction of $200,000 to local contribution to the schools. That was voted at special town meeting, presented and voted. And so now the next step is it's required, that can't take effect until the school committee votes to rescind the previously adopted fiscal year 26 school department budget and adopt a revised budget. This should say with local contribution in the amount of $7,799,633 as appropriated by the town of Hadley at the October 23rd, 2025 special town meeting, to authorize the superintendent to implement necessary adjustments. And this is a reduction to local contribution.
All right. My colleague, does anyone have any questions or comments about this before we take a vote? Okay, seeing none.
Well, actually, no, I'm just curious, what is the impact and how are we going to pay?
So this also came up at special town meeting. We have 2 resignations that we won't be filling, and we have a out-of-district tuition that ended up not having a placement, not finding an adoptive home in Hadley. So as a result, that's where that money will come from. We'll be in a position to then amend the budget downward.
Any other questions?
I guess I would just, and obviously it's way too early to speculate, Annie, but obviously thinking ahead to next year and being at the town meeting the other night, I just hope that we're thinking about the efforts that we're taking here with the schools to help the town as we start to look forward. I think Tara mentioned it last month with the number of things that we're hoping to do within the schools over the next couple of years. I'm just hopeful that we're able to continue doing those things that we plan to do.
Well said, Ethan. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the revised amended fiscal year 26 budget for a town contribution of $7,799,633?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Paul. All in favor? Motion passes.
I'm sorry, Humira, just one more question. So Annie, is it fair to say then that this cut means there's a loss in services?
What we've done for what we ended up doing for one of the resignations is taking some of those courses and assigning them to other staff. That doesn't mean that we have to pay those staff per the contract, but it does alleviate the health insurance burden. So in all cases, what we've done is work to delegate some of those responsibilities to other staff. The $200,000 number came essentially the biggest driver we know of the increases in fiscal year 26 for the unexpected health insurance. The school department is the largest share of that increase because we have the largest share of people receiving health insurance in the town. So in delegating out, we have to spend money when we delegate out responsibilities, but it does bring people with health insurance, and overall it's less money.
Can I tack on to kind of, I think what everybody's saying in a nutshell, you know, as the as the select board and finance committee moves forward and looking at next fiscal year's budget, um, I think it would behoove us to have an ongoing, continuous conversation of how we're looking when it comes to comparing to what the select board is thinking for budget wise, and trying to stay atop of what may happen, you know, come next budget season. Kind of to echo what Ethan was saying, I guess just, you know, we're we've talked about it before, we talk about it now, but keeping the conversation open and alive as things progress. And then um, I guess I guess as school committee members think about our role to inform the community as things progress, as to where we stand. So that way, you know, parents and the greater community are aware um, of where things will stand within the schools so that nothing is a surprise. Um, so I feel any way that we can kind of help spread that information eh, when appropriate and when decided would be good of us.
Yes, thank you, Tara. I think this will likely be a year-round conversation for some years. And I appreciate Annie and Chris, you keeping that conversation with the town alive, and also you, Christine, on the capital side of things. Um, we do have, you know, a 10-year view of our capital needs, for instance. We also, we do have ambitious things we want to accomplish, Ethan, as you described. And um, we we have a school choice that we're blessed to draw upon, but not for unsustainable ongoing needs. We also, you know, can be smart about how our needs can be resolved with existing staff, but that can only go so far. And so really making sure that we're being mindful of the load that our educators take on, that we're protecting them and not, and, you know, not arriving at a situation where it things are untenable. But I really appreciate, Annie, uh, the entrepreneurial mindset that you've brought to um, accomplishing our needs and not having a loss of service in light of the decrease in funding. All right. Very good. We're going to move next to, well, capital requests. Annie, do you want to?
None of them passed. So we can see the link of what was asked for. No, it wasn't just the school department. Article 2 did not pass. None of the requests in Article 2 from DPW, Hadley Media, the police, or the schools. It was all voted down.
And the specific item relating to the schools.
Security upgrades. So this is where we were looking for flashing blue light, upgraded blinds. The blinds at Hopkins are original to the building, and security vestibule.
Okay.
They've been recommended by state troopers and Hadley PD. And Mike Mason did speak to that, I think. And a member of the FinCom spoke to that, but the article did not pass. So those things would be on hold. Some people may think, well, you could use school choice for that, but depending on what the fiscal outlook is now, this is what we had said. The problem becomes we increasingly rely on school choice for operating needs, and that creates some significant problems with maintaining our infrastructure. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we have to be very, very careful about that. Okay, thank you. We're going to move next to item B, Chromebook repair and replacement procedures.
Just wanted to let the school committee know that unlike many districts, we don't have a policy where we have people mandatory purchase insurance or put a deposit down. But what we will be doing going forward is if a student, not the first time that something happens, accidents can happen, but if we see a student has kind of ongoing infractions with damage to Chromebooks, then we will ask families to pay for example, replacing a cracked screen. To do that plus labor is roughly $75. Or if the Chromebook needs to be replaced, we would ask the families to do that. Just making the school committee aware it's a procedure. Also saying it out loud too. Families, I'll be informing families, but any families listening to this, if they have strong feelings about that or want to speak with me, please do email me directly and I'll be notifying families. I wanted to bring it to the school committee's attention and say it publicly before the email went out.
Thank you, Annie. I appreciate that. So the district will notify parents by way of an email. And in the future, as students are checking out Chromebooks, or will it be in the handbook for parents to sign? Will it be, a sort of like a sheet that students are asked to sign when they receive a Chromebook? How can we keep this in front of them so that they're mindful and taking care of the equipment just a little bit more, so that they don't incur a $75 charge?
Great thoughts. So we will make sure that we adjust handbooks going forward. Thank you for that, Humira, and reminding students as this happens. Right now, I'm going to send the email out to families. I'll send it out to parents. I'll ask that there's also an announcement. More so at Hopkins, I don't think students are taking them home at the elementary. They'll think of the best way to communicate to students, but all parents will get the notification.
Wonderful. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We're going to move to the remainder of the policies, first reading. Ethan is going to take us through 3 of them. And then I think, Annie, you're going to take us through the revised competency determination policy. So Ethan, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, for sure. This is first reading for school committee. We have 3. The first one is bidding requirements. And again, you'll see a lot of the changes are recommended by our attorney. The main change here is you'll see changing, and Annie, you can help me on this, changing from 50,000 to 100,000, the cost of something and whether or not we need to get the bids. I believe there's a specific alignment with something else.
Yeah, it's a change in the limits. So procurement and purchasing. The attorney updated it to make sure policies aligned with changes to the law.
Yep. So that's the bidding requirements. That's the first one. Do you want me to keep moving, Humira?
Please.
Yep. All right. So we'll go to expense reimbursements. There's just a small change, again, by the attorney, as you'll see, kind of highlighted as reference in any specific contract or collective bargaining agreement. That's just been a little bit of an add-on to this policy that's already been in place. And then finally, the Hadley Schools Preschool Scholarship Program. I believe this is something that's been in place before, but it's just up for us to renew this policy.
Very good. Thank you. This is just first reading, so it will come back next month. But does anyone have any questions or comments at this juncture?
Annie, can you just, or Ethan, if you know, can you just explain a little bit more about the preschool scholarship program and what it entails?
So I'm sorry, I opened the wrong one. Here we go. Yep. Gladly. So actually, this was recommended by Ms. Winter for us to have a policy, and Kim, the attorney, worked with Ms. Winter on drafting this. So having just writing down how we try to assist families with financial aid in preschool. So we had a more general statement that the preschool, I believe, had in their handbook, and this is just specifies what exactly, who is eligible, and for what, right? What are the different scholarships they might have?
I was going to add that but you kind of said, Annie, this is something that's kind of been in place before or always, just being able to write it down and be a bit more specific about the what people can qualify for.
Yes. So what it said was essentially before it was, if you need help, call us kind of thing. So there's just a bit more detail there.
Formalizes it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Okay, very good. Thank you, Ethan. We'll talk about it again next month. And Annie, the competency determination?
Yes, so you had a policy that you had approved. DESE has now come out with its very specific template of what they want it to look like. What was not included in our previous policy was a history requirement, which goes into effect for class of 2027. aside from adding the history requirement, really all that's changing here is how it's formatted, because again, the department has a rubric now. What will be required, policy subcommittee looked at it tonight. You're doing first reading tonight because on New Year's Eve, I have to submit it to DESE for review and approval. So that's due on 12/31. I just wanted to make sure that school committee had enough time to formally approve it before it was due to the department.
Great, thank you. And let's see, we won't be, and this is first reading as well, so we'll come back and talk about that next month. Terrific. We also have a slate of policies under G for second reading. Ethan, do you want to remind us what those are?
Yeah, so we're gonna vote on first aid, student transportation, and private vehicles, and then of course universal free school meals policies. Again, second reading. First aid, again, quite a few track changes. If you had the chance to look through, just a little bit more detailed around kind of creating procedures rather than an emergency medical plan. Kind of identifying who are the people in the school that will be the go-tos for emergency responses, and then some other updates again that our attorney suggested.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ethan on any of the three policies we'll be voting on tonight? Okay, seeing none, do I hear a motion to pass EBB, EEAG, and EFC as shared in the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Ethan and Christine. All right, moving next to superintendent updates. Amy?
Just very quickly, some good news, which is good in light of the financial position we're in, although this is not the way that we want to do long-term financial planning. But we're doing well with grants this year. So last year I'd reported that we had our best year overall with grants, with securing just over $1 million in grant awards for all of FY25. We are just now entering, I guess, quarter two of fiscal year 26, and we already have secured roughly $150,000 more than we did for all of last year, FY25. So we're at roughly 1.2 million right now. Very helpful. Some exciting things, Capital Skills Grant for our innovation pathways. We have been selected to participate in an innovative program from a private nonprofit called Campus Without Walls. That would be at Hopkins Academy to join part of a statewide network to create virtual courses and then share them. That would be offered synchronously to give students more access to things. And our enrollment is looking, we have more total enrollment than last year. Our school choice in is up by 5 students. Last year was 144, right now it's 149. Our school choice out was 41 last year, and right now it's 34. So we saw a decrease of 7 students in choice out. Our charter school enrollment at last check has decreased. It was 42 last year. It looks like it's 38 right now. So those numbers are all trending. And those are the highlights.
Annie, I just want to make sure I am understanding this correctly. Last year's fiscal year grant awards were $1,051,000 and change, $1,051,000 and change. And so far this year, fiscal year alone, we're at $1,199,000.
Yeah, 825, roughly 1.2 million. So you're about 150 over where you were last year. 150 over in quarter two where we were for all of last year, which is definitely needed.
Well, thank you. Congratulations to you and to all your supports to land that. Does that mean, if we get any additional grants, how likely is it that that we would get an additional fiscal year 25, or I guess this fiscal year grants between now and the end of the fiscal year?
We still have a couple out that we've written that we haven't received our award notices yet. And I will be writing a PLTW grant for the middle school because our goal has always been that we're a Project Lead the Way school K through 12. So we have it in the high school, we have it in the elementary. And I should say that you all got an email. So we could get more. Let me answer that question. And when I just said Project Lead the Way, course, you all got this email. Let me say it to the public. What a huge accomplishment that Jayshree Krishnan was selected as received national recognition as a Project Lead the Way teacher, one of our Hadley Elementary teachers. I mean, there's just a handful across the entire country. It's a really big deal, and we want to, I'm certainly hoping that grant gets funded to have Project Lead the Way to the middle school next year.
That's really great news. So thank you again for all the work on grants, and very, very impressive. Okay, moving on to the next item of the agenda, we're talking about business manager reports. Chris, can you take us through all of the updates, and then we'll pause for questions at the end. So revolving, expense accounts, grants, summary, and
Sure. Oops, sorry. So revolving accounts first. Most of the accounts are showing some slight bumps up in September, with the exception of lunch. The town hadn't posted the revenues yet for September, but preschool, you can see, went up about $8,000. You know, as we start to get tuition payments paid to us, you know, the account balance obviously shows that. The same with the Hadley Kids account. School choice has moved up a little bit. We've had no expenses charged to that account yet. As mentioned, we've budgeted $1.6 million to be charged against the school choice account, but I'll probably do a journal entry next month to move, say, a quarter of what we budgeted, and we'll do it every couple of months for the rest of the year. So that'll obviously bring the balance down, but you know, really healthy balances in all of the accounts at this point in time. Then I have the grant report. There's not a lot of spending yet in the grants. As you can see, we've got a whole bunch of them on the awarded amounts, and only a few have some spending at this point in time. And the reason for that is really just that most of these grants get approved in September into October, and you know, you can't spend them until they're approved. So what happens is we've had a couple. That computer science 126 grant was a summer grant that we spent the majority of it on, and then the remaining part is a school year grant. But as you know, we will be spending heavily on these grants over the next several months. So you know, you'll see that amount used column obviously growing. And then the expense report, looking good on the expenses. If you just look at the totals at the end, we spent a little under 16% of the budgeted amount so far this year. That's, again, you can't just go by the number of months in the year, because we have that big payroll that comes at the end of June that covers the summer months. So it's not just like, oh, well, we're 1/10 of the year done at this point, we should have spent 10%. It doesn't really work like that, but 15.9% is certainly a good place to be at this point in time. We've had a few accounts that have gone over budget. Some of the maintenance accounts, we've had a lot of electrical repairs. We've had a good amount of plumbing repairs, some of which have not yet hit the expenses, but will over the next couple of weeks. And that's really just efforts to, in some cases, correct issues that we've discovered or things that have just broken. And in other instances, they're just things that we've seen that really should have been taken care of, that will improve either access. We've added outlets in some classrooms, just items like that. So it makes it just much easier to power devices in the classrooms rather than running a power strip or an extension cord or something. So we've done items like that. Other than that, it's pretty much so far just our regular school year. I can certainly answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions, anyone? All right, thank you.
Okay.
And the last item on your agenda is the geothermal project updates.
Got it, Chris?
Sorry, I muted and shut off my video, and then oops, I had to come back on. So there's really nothing in terms of geothermal updates, but we did have a meeting on Friday with Trane representatives. We had a few of them on, actually. Ann and I were on a call with them. And so they had sent us a contract for the investment grade audit for all of our facilities. And I have forwarded that to our attorney just to take a look at it. I made a couple of adjustments myself to it. And so it's in Kim's hands now. She said she would try to get it back to us this week. So, and they said, basically, if we got it back in the next couple of weeks to them, they would be looking at probably completing the audit in December or January. And really by February, we can start choosing which projects we might want to do. They have requested several items from us, building plans. I've uploaded those actually tonight just before the meeting to them. And they want copies of all of our electric, oil, and gas bills for FY25. So we'll be scanning all of those, putting them together and scanning them and sending them over. So things are moving, at least as far as the ESCO goes.
Great, thank you. And, I might suggest, I don't know what the right answer here is, but I don't know that we should call it geothermal project updates anymore because we don't know if we're going to do a geothermal project update. I wonder if we should call that something more neutral. I'll let you.
Said that. Yeah, I meant to do that, to change it to ESCO, but I didn't want to do a strike through after I posted the agenda.
Right.
So there will be, and there are also notes that you can see in the public can see the comment of just in general, a reminder of what an energy services company does and what they'll be assisting us with, but we will.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, moving, so thank you, Chris, appreciate it, your update. We're going to move next to, let's see, we're going to quickly review action items. First, we'll vote on approval of payroll and expense warrants for September 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, terrific, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the school committee minutes from August and September?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, I think that's Tara moving and Christine seconding.
Second.
Yep, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Let's see, we've already voted on the budget as well as the 2 field trips. So there's 1 field trip there. There's also the Greece one that we voted on. There's the approval of the Hopkins Academy strategy. We approved 3 policies. We're moving next to the school committee updates and general announcements. So first up is Tara. Tara, what would you like to share with us about playground, CPAC, and CES?
So not really anything new on playgrounds. Eventually, hopefully in the future, at some undetermined point, I'll be back and trying to discuss how we would recognize the donors for the project, but on hold for right now. CPAC, they're meeting in the mornings monthly. They've got their group underway. I unfortunately have not been able to attend their meetings while they do them during school hours. But they're sending out emails, they're on social media, and they're still doing a good job of advertising and trying to get information out and across. So I'm glad to see them going. CES, we met last month. A search group was chosen in order to search for the new director. Unfortunately, I was not able to be a part of that smaller subgroup based on the dates and times that they were meeting. I was not able to make, but in January, we will have a full board interview with the candidates and decision made after that in mid-January. So I'll have more to come after that.
Excellent, thank you. The next item is finance, and that's me. We've already talked about that, and we'll keep you posted on how that continues. Next up is fields. Paul and Chris, anything to share about how the fields are looking, particularly the drainage?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Chris. Chris, anything?
Let's see. So last time we met, I mentioned that the pricing that we received for the additional drainage was high enough that we were going to have to go out to bid. At that point in time, I spoke with Berkshire Design, and they were going to do the plans for us, like official plans. I've done the drawings that I sent out for quotes, and while they are no pieces of art by any means, they pretty much got the job done, and I just didn't want to, pay a designer huge sums of money to add a drain in between two others, where I can just draw the dotted line and say, put them every 10 feet instead of every 20, but Berkshire was kind enough to do the designs for us at no charge. So I got those a couple of weeks ago, and at this point in time, I'm just working on putting together the bid docs, and we'll get something out there.
Great, thank you. Look forward to that moving forward. Thanks, Chris. We're going to move next to capital, but we talked about that earlier. I don't think there are any updates on that. We already talked about policy, general announcements. We do not have a select board liaison or a finance committee liaison. Annie, is there anything else that Chardul or anyone would say if they were here?
No, I don't believe so. We'll just, keep our eyes on the budget town-wide. And then we will need to, Christine, we will need to select a meeting. You'll see I intentionally left our meeting blank just because I didn't know that Monday before Thanksgiving. So, no, I have nothing else to add, but wanted to point out that there's no meeting selected for November.
Okay, if everyone could just, let's see if this could be an easy selection of a date for our November meeting.
So Monday the 24th would be the regular one. That's the fourth one. That is the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Right. So let's first ask, does anyone have any objections, or does anyone see themselves not being able to attend November 24th, Monday, November 24th, the Monday before Thanksgiving? It looks like it's good for me. Can we get a quick, we can keep it abbreviated, I'm sure, Annie, make it manageable for that holiday week. Looks like it's doable. Okay. So let's move forward with Monday, November 24th at 5:30 p.m. And will there be a policy meeting on that day?
Yes, lucky for them. I am adding that right now.
Okay, terrific. All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. There is no executive session tonight. We are ending this meeting at 7:12, 12 minutes after our target. But I welcome a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
moved.
All right, that's Ethan first and Christine second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, terrific. Thank you.